don't wanna be an American lady.
Way up here at the policy level, we need to be investing in the technologies that are going to help us mitigate the problem, whether that's putting aerosols in the atmosphere, carbon capture, any of that stuff.
But for me, someone who's a skeptic of big government, how do you convince someone like me to believe that the government should or could more effectively invest in climate change technologies?
And that's actually an excellent question, because I don't think I could convince somebody that our government is effectively spending our money.
I don't know how you could.
Yeah. But when America wanted to put a human being on the moon, we effectively spent our tax dollars to go put a human being on the moon, right? I would have went, we're putting the climate change version of NASA in West Virginia. Government and the market have to play in tandem.
But they are playing in tandem. It's really hand in hand almost, but the people with the bigger hand or the better hand seems to be the corporations.
I do not believe that it can be solely a private market-driven thing, because take cars. Cars is a perfect example. If everybody tomorrow drove an electric car, that's a third of the problem. But people don't like swift change. How do you get...
It's been my opinion they don't like change at all, regardless of how fast or slow it happens.
Right. How do you get people to change? That is where I would argue the federal government has a role to play in creating a better market. You know how you get an electric car everywhere? Is you make really, really nice cars, and then you give people just enormous tax breaks to the point where it's like, oh, okay, it's cheaper to go get the new Mustang Mach-E than it is to go buy a gasoline-powered whatever, right?
But they already do it with Ford F-150s and anything that's heavy enough to be considered a tax.
Yeah, why do we
for your
incentivize
work?
heavy cars as a tax credit?
Yeah, the problem is markets react to people, right?
Well, that's the way we've incentivized markets too. But,
True.
You know,
And I can tell you, Americans love gigantic gas-guzzling vehicles a lot.
now is that because of the tax incentive, or is it just because they love the image that it puts off?
I think they love the image it puts off. I think the tax incentive certainly helps. I mean, let's face it, the only reason car companies, besides Elon just wanting to be better than everybody, have started making electric vehicles is because our emission standards are getting so strict that it's like, all right,
But part of me
I give
doesn't
up.
think the emission standards have anything to do with it at all. It's just that Elon Musk went and created the market for electrical vehicles, sold it to people as a luxury item, and convinced them that electric technology is the future and that this is a luxury that you want to be on. And I don't think the government really had anything to do with it. They also saw where he was going and incentivized what he was already doing.
Here's where I would push back on that.
Okay.
If you're a giant corporation, right? I think electric cars make up a tiny, tiny percentage of the market. To people who have driven a car, longer than we've been alive, because there are plenty of those people out there, not interested. I want my gigantic pickup truck that I know how to drive. I know what it's going to feel like. I know what sounds it's going to make. I love watching car reviews, right?
Start it up.
And one of my favorite cars is the Porsche 911.
Yep. Beautiful car.
And it sounds amazing. None of that in electric cars. We have to make goofy sounds.
I like when I turn mine on and I hear nothing until like 10 minutes later when the generator kicks on.
My point is, I do not believe the legacy manufacturers would have gone to this without just saying, all right, we're going to be forced to produce a gas vehicle that gets 60 miles to the gallon, and I still got to have it be a giant pickup truck or a giant body-on-frame like Escalade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's too much work.
We're in a reactive culture, not a proactive culture.
Yes.
But Tesla's created this luxury market. I know it's fractionally small or whatever, but the amount of people that signed up to buy like fucking like digital or toy copy of the Cybertruck. Whatever kind of bullshit he puts out there, right? Like, that's the kind of fandom that's behind this. So if there's a mass market, cool, affordable, GM presented electric vehicle, that should fly off the shelves, especially if Elon's like, you know what, this is for the good of the market. It drives up the value of Teslas anyways, because we're the ultra premium. It's good for us and good for everyone, because now we can make it more accessible from a charging station standpoint and infrastructure like that.
I love how it doesn't come down to which one gets us out of the extinction event we're facing.
Right.
It comes down to which one makes the coolest noise.
Right?
Yeah. But
Humans are very, very complex individuals when it comes to our taste making.
I think you bring up a great point, though. The reason, right, we have markets, we developed forms of government like democracy, we developed economic systems like capitalism,
Right.
is because we are, in our nature, kind of short-term thinkers. I want something dope. I want the new, like, Porsche Taycan wagon because it looks dope and it goes fast, right?
Yep.
I don't care that in so doing I'm polluting less. So it's the market reacts to that. This is an existential threat. Luckily, humans happen to be the most adaptable animal on the planet Earth. There will just be
invasive species.
yeah. We're in a place where this problem is so prevalent, and it is a global problem, that we're going to have to thread the needle, so to speak, with both government and private industry